The information contained herein is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Oi, listen up. I don't want to have to smack anybody in the mouth for not paying attention. This episode, I want to talk about Lord Beck, aka Glenn Beck, over at Candlelight Theater. Glenn Beck is what my papa used to say is an example of you got to take the good with the bad. Now, Mr. Beck, over the years, I'm sure through a lot of hard work, has built himself quite an empire. And deservedly so. I mean, hard work should pay. And in his case, it pays well. Don't begrudge him a penny. But as much as he professes to be one thing, in many cases, he's another. He's a hypocrite. He says he fights for the rights of everyone. Once the rights, everybody deserves their rights. Not for smokers. He hates smokers. He believes all that crap about first, second, and third hand smoke. Thinks smokers are pariahs. Even though he has at his disposal a good friend of his, good BFF, Penn Jillette, who on his own show, on Showtime, called BS, did an entire episode on secondhand smoke and found it to be not injurious at all to non-smokers. You think you might want to ask him, you think you might know that. You think you might want to become enlightened. But no, he's not fighting for smokers' rights, because they're only smoking a legally manufactured product. And why should they have any rights? And he professes to lead a healthy way of life, and yet he's fat. I mean, he's sick all the time, bad back. Him and his band of merry men, they all have bad backs and are overweight. But smokers, yeah, bad guys, bad guys. So, rights for everybody, but not for the smokers. He's also a coward, and which is quite amusing because he actually wrote a book called Cowards, talking about cowards, and didn't list himself because I didn't see anything in there. I've never heard him say anything about, let's say, Big Pharma. Big Pharma. In, I think it was 2011, GlaxoSmith Pharmaceuticals, $3 billion settlement with the United States of America over practices that were found to be illegal and criminal, which included doctors also. There was another one, I think it was Pfizer in 2009, that had a 2.3 or maybe a $2.9 billion settlement for also unethical practices, illegal practices. Not a word about that. Not a word about that. Doesn't take on the doctors who prescribe poison continuously to their patients, knowingly, and being paid quite handsomely for it. Dentist, same way, with fluoride and other injurious practices. Did some kind of, I remember when he was at Fox, he did some kind of puff piece on flu shots. Some kind of innocuous thing where he was going, well, we're going to find out today whether they're good or bad. You didn't find out, zip. Oh, by the way, they're bad. But he also, and even though this gentleman lives just down the road a piece from where his major studio is in Texas, a doctor, PhD, named Stanislav Brzezinski, who is world-renowned researcher, scientist, and cure of cancer in many instances, who's been persecuted by the FDA for 20 years. 20 years this man's been persecuted, and the only thing he's guilty of is curing people that were deemed incurable. Says nothing about him. Does nothing about him. Doesn't discuss the FDA, who are nothing more than paid lackeys by the pharmaceutical companies. Doesn't take them on. Yeah. But, and the other one is that with his power and his accumulation of money, which allows him, which gives him the power, his arrogance has grown also. And one of the things that really gets to me, or has gotten to me, I can't even begin to watch it when they do it. He's got a segment he calls More on Friday. M-O-R-E-O-N, moron. But really what it is moron, M-O-R-O-N, really what he wants to say. Where they call up convenience stores throughout the country and get the people on the phone that are working there and ask them questions. Questions that a lot of people can answer because they have the time to watch TV and read the newspapers and perhaps watch his show. But these people that he's calling aren't like that. For the most part, they're not like that. And I want you to envision this scenario. We've all been in these convenience stores where they sell gas. And they sell produce and meats and all types of things. They sell lottery tickets. There's a lot going on, is what I'm saying. Now here you are, you're somebody with, let's say, a high school education. And that's all you've been able to get due to whatever, financial situation. Maybe you're married, maybe you've got a couple of kids. You're working for somebody who doesn't really appreciate you and keeps pushing on you for a minimum wage. He's on your back all the time. Now you've been in the store, you've been in line yourself. This person behind the counter, they've got to deal with the people who are buying gas. And because of theft, they've got to deal with that same person a lot of times, because they said they wanted $10, the car didn't take $10, took $8.95, they got to come back in, so now they got to deal with that person twice. They got somebody here that wants to buy milk and bread, they've got somebody here in line with a list this long for lottery tickets, you got somebody who wants to buy cigarettes, somebody who wants to buy beer, you got a cacophony of sounds. And now you have this idiot who's sitting in a sound-controlled studio with his band of merry men calling you up and asking you about Benghazi. Or they want to know what socialism is. Or who's Donald Trump. Now, you're trying to handle all of these things that are going on with all the people in the store. You want to be polite to the people on the phone, and they're asking you, what is socialism, while some idiot is telling you that he actually won the lottery and he wants to know why you haven't given him the money to pay for the ticket when you know that he hasn't won, or this guy has a dispute over it. And now you have Lord Beck and his band of merry men making noise in the background where they're at. You've got noise here. You're thinking about your 3 kids at home, or your husband who's out of work, or your wife who's out of work, if it's the other way around, and you got all this stuff going on, and you have some idiot asking you what socialism is? Or maybe with Lord Beck, he might ask you, how's your soul doing? Yeah, how's your soul doing today? And they're going to make fun of you? They're going to ridicule you? He actually, a couple of months ago, launched into a tirade about how stupid these people were, that he called at these convenience stores to ask questions that he thought they should know. This is his business. This is his current events are his business. He should know all of this. He's got a research team. He's got 300 or more people working for him. He should be up on every one of these things. These poor people at these convenience stores, many of them who are owners who work 16, 18 hours a day, and English is not their first language, and they're trying to be polite while they're trying to make money for their families, and you have the idiot call up, this moron himself, and then ridicule these people because they don't know what socialism is, or they can't explain it properly. Or they don't know the ins and outs and the aspects of the details about what happened in Benghazi. Are you kidding me? This is a moron. This is a moron. I mean, this fat-faced, this guy's so fat, his earlobes are fat. They look like marshmallows hanging off his ears, and his jowls are so fat that they're puffed out, and they're bending his earlobes up, his fat earlobes up. Then he has this pedophile beard on his chin. I don't know why. You know, what the hell, what that's for. I mean, and if he thinks it's going to cover that goiter that he calls a neck, you know, he'd have to look like ZZ Top before he'd cover that sucker up. So he's got nothing to ridicule these people about. They're just honest people who are trying to make a buck under extreme conditions to begin with. And the fact that they don't tell them to go jump in a lake is beyond me. So Lord Beck and his firelight, what do you want to call it, candlelight theater, can just kiss my ass. Just stick to what you know best and stop ridiculing people, because you're nothing but a fat-faced jerk. So stick to that. Put out the information that you have. Yeah, that's it. Listen, you want to contribute to my cause? PayPal.com, click on buy, click on make a payment from your email address to my email address, SmokinMan@yahoo.com. Twitter, cool SmokinMan. Until next time, folks, smoke 'em if you got 'em.